Hello and welcome. I'm Danette Kubanda, and joining me today for a very special interview is Dr. Adriana Popescu. She is a licensed clinical psychologist, addiction and trauma specialist, empowerment coach, podcast host, and she's the author of What If You're Not As Effed Up As You Think You Are? How we come to believe lies about ourselves and what we can do to change them. Thank you so much for being with us, Adriana.
Thanks for having me, Danette. Happy to be with you here today.
So you say that we are all fundamentally whole and perfect. So where do these lies come from?
Think of it this way. Judgment is not something that we're innately born with. It's something that we're taught and something we learn. So when you look at babies, for example, babies, young children, they're these bright little shining balls of joy, of love and light. And fundamentally, they don't look at themselves like, oh, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm not enough, I'm ugly, all these like negative things we come to believe about ourselves. That comes from the messages that we get from family, school, the neighborhood, if you grew up in a religious or spiritual tradition, and then of course, TV, movies, social media, magazines, all those things. We're constantly getting bombarded with these messages about how we're supposed to look, how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to be. And if we don't match up with that, we're considered outsiders, we're judged, we're made wrong. And then we'll internalize those judgments and come to believe those things ourselves, which then blocks our access to that bright, joyful essence, our spirit, that part of us that we really are at the core, that is whole and perfect. What instead, it's like the sun, I'll use the metaphor, the sun is always shining, but you don't always see it. And these judgments are like the clouds or, whatever it is that's not allowing you to access that part of yourself. And in this book, I really want to show people, how we come to believe these things and that these judgments we form about ourselves are fundamentally false beliefs. They are core false beliefs that we can now, with tools and techniques, learn how to question them and change them and free ourselves of those negative judgments.
Oh, that's such a great explainer there. Thank you for that. So tell me then about the BS system.
Yes, this is a term, much like the term core false beliefs. I have a wonderful friend and colleague, TJ Woodward, who we've worked on his book, Conscious Recovery and Workbooks. And he really calls it, he's so straightforward about like, this is total BS. This stuff you come to believe about yourself is not true. These are belief systems, kind of like software programs, right? That run a computer. They're always there in the background. You may or may not be fully aware of them, but they're driving the show. They're forming the lens, like if you had glasses on, through which you're seeing the world. And so they're BS, right? They're belief systems that are false. And so what we want to do in our messages that we're trying to get out in the world is show people that maybe this stuff isn't true. And maybe there are ways that you can actually change that.
Excellent. Your book is full of tools and resources. Would you mind sharing one of your favorite tools with us right now?
Yeah, I love the power of the question, right? Because a question is going to tend to open up possibilities, whereas answers and conclusions tend to cut those possibilities off. So I love, like, if you're in a negative headspace, asking a question like, what other ways that are, look at this? What's right about this that I'm not getting? Or if you're looking at yourself in a negative way, what's right about me that I'm not getting? How could I see this differently? What might my best friend say about it? What else is possible here? How does it get any better than this? These are the types of questions that I think can help us to start to look at things through a different lens and start to open up to the possibility that perhaps we are not as effed up as we think we are.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. To learn more about Dr. Adriana and all of her work, please visit, I'm going to share 2 websites with you. The first one is whatifyou'renot.com. You can learn more about her book there. And then her website is adrianapopescu.org. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.